Now, today, my turn. So today I'm going to speak to all of you. So, yes, last time I came 1 month ago. So then, more than 1 month ago, yes. So this time, so you are welcome to ask questions. Anyway, I will start with remembering a little bit about the diligence and how we should care our mind and body. The body, caring body, we can ask from doctors easily. But the caring mind is actually, we have to understand, we have to learn about how this mind works according to the Buddhism. So it is important because you can ask from a psychiatrist or someone else who is doing research, or in other religious beliefs, based on other religious beliefs. Also, you have a different way of seeing our mind, how it works and how it fall into unskillful states or unskillful mentality. So these things, we learn, we hear. Whatever thing we get from where we live, what we listen, and what we interact with. So what we experience. So most of the times when we are experiencing things, actually we understand based on our present knowledges, present understanding, present experiences. That means past experiences give the support to our consciousness in the present moment. So what we understand in present moment always based on our past. In the same time, when you are associating with people in different with different beliefs and understandings, these things also help to understand our body and mind. So that's why it is important. We should have the good friends in our life, or we have to find out good friends. So otherwise we don't get the right understanding about our body and mind, because different groups of people have different kind of understandings. So they see this body and mind in different other ways. So if we the only thing Lord Buddha mainly emphasize, or Lord Buddha teach people to understand which one is good and which one is bad, how you judge these things, how you understand these things. So the main thing is you should carefully consider whether these the understandings, or the way you see your body and mind, and all the way you see your experiences, if those ways of seeing leads to more greed, more hatred, that is not beneficial. If it makes your mind more unhappy, uncomfortable, these things are not really helpful to you. So that's why you have to cultivate the right way of understanding your body and mind first. So then you can listen to other views, other way of seeing things, and then you can apply to your experiences and understand whether this is beneficial or not. So it is important thing. It is when you go to the basics, we have to keep in mind, if we fall into ill will, hatred, and when we fall into the harming thoughts, ill will, anger, hatred, this kind of all are unskillful. These things make more problems, more suffering. So first thing, if we fall into those states, we should keep in our mind to protect our mind from those states. Just leave it alone. Cut off that thought, cut off that object come to your mind, and first release your mind from those states. So that is the first thing. We have to have the care. We have to care our mind, not to fall into the unskillful states. When it fall into those states, sometimes the momentum is very powerful. You can't take it out at once. So when your mind is just going to that direction, you should have that mindfulness. You have to train your mind to understand and stop. Not to go to that direction. So cut off the object which create more anger, hatred in your mind. Or the lust. The lust also sometimes, this greed is also a problem for people. The too much greed create more problems. This one create anxiety and depression. All these unwholesome things arise because too much greed. So the greed, you have to, if your mind is obsessed by that kind of mentality, we have to keep in mind, just leave it alone, just cut off it, and release your mind for a moment, for the time being. And then you have to reconsider again and again this object, whether it is essential, necessary. Can we live without that? So that kind of reviewing you have to practice. Because these unwholesome states of mind leads to more suffering, more problems, more mental problems, and then more bodily problems. So that's why it is good to keep the understanding about caring our body and mind. So the main guideline that Buddha gives us is, if your mind is falling to anger, hatred, or strong greed, so then you have to protect. You should know you are going in the wrong direction. So you have to cut off and let go. Then your mind have that other kind of contractions, that means the unhappiness. These things also you have to deal with wisdom. First, actually, early you get the wisdom from the people who understand this life in a deep sense. So then when you are using that wisdom, that knowledge within yourself, then you directly experience the liberation or the release from suffering within yourself. Then you understand, yes, this approach is correct. And in the same time, you can review whether they are telling true or false by investigating within yourself. Like the basic principles, this impermanence, this uncertainty related to your forms, feelings, perceptions, volitions, and your consciousness. So whatever consciousness arises, eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind consciousness is not always the same. Your eye consciousness, today you see something and you enjoy. Tomorrow, the same thing you see, but you are no more enjoying it. Sometimes you see some faults in that object. You see something better than that. And you say, oh, that is not the best. So your consciousness change, your feelings, perceptions change. So this reality you have to keep in mind. Then you can avoid the obsession arise in your mind. That means when the mind is going to one object with the greed or hatred, you can cut off and let go. You can release your mind. When you remind yourself that reality, these are impermanent stuff. These feelings, perceptions, volitions are impermanent stuff. These are changed to different states. So this is an important part of our life to keep in mind. So then you can avoid our mind fall into the unskillful mental state. That means the greed and hatred. Strong greed also the same. So we crave to something. But after some time you understand, oh, this is actually no value. So then your mind, your feelings, perceptions related to that object change. So then no more need that object again. So you can let go it. So, but at the beginning, you suffer a lot to get it. So that's why we are just wasting time. If you know this mind is moving, then you limit your expectation to essential things. And you know your mind is always, whatever thing you see, you value and then change to something else, then change to something else. This is the part of life. So you should not be deluded by your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body. This consciousness is always based on the data at that moment. So when the new data come in, the valuation change to a different level. So it is moving. It is moving. So if you know that nature of your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind, so you have to be mindful. So otherwise, you are always running behind mirage. You don't get anything. So these things you have to keep in mind. So these are the basics that I want to remind you at the beginning of this talk. You can ask questions at any time. So these things. So when we keep in these things mind, if we are diligent and careful about our mind, so then we can avoid a lot of the unskillful mental states or unskillful verbal actions and bodily actions. Because when you fall into unskillful mental states, then it leads to the unskillful verbal actions and bodily actions. So that means this anger, hatred create the bad way of speaking and lying, all this bad stuff arise. So these things we have to keep in mind. These are the basics. So if you have any questions, you can ask. Yeah, the greed. Actually, the greed is when we contact any object. So the greed arises based on how you feel it, how you value it. So these things actually based on your past conditioning, how you thought about these things or how you relate to these things early. So that depends on, if you see something you don't know anything, you don't get the greed or wanting related to those objects. But the objects you previously pre-think or pre-consider in your life, and or some other people inspire you to, this is the nice thing, this is the best thing, you have to get this one. That kind of, for example, some people enjoy cars. They're using the different kind of models, different. So if you are living in a group of people who is admiring these different models and different cars, so then you get that input and you also start admiring those things. So then what happened? So when you see, you want. So then you earn money to get that. So your life is totally turned to that direction, and you are striving hard to earn money to get those things and enjoy these things. So go fast. Some people want to that kind of fast driving cars, and sometimes then the police catch you and they fine you again. But you want to enjoy it. So sometimes you want to leave Australia and go to Germany. Then you can go. So that kind of, the mind drives like that this way. So you have to carefully consider these things. Whether my mind will stuck on these things all the time, or it will shift to a different level. So if you consider these things, if you watch your past, how your mind move one to the other, and come to this present level. So then you know this mind never stop if you go behind that one. So because it is a part of the system, it is a part of delusion. Because this eye and nose, tongue, body, mind run based on delusion. So that is what Lord Buddha showed us. Avidya paccaya sankara, sankara paccaya vijnana. All this consciousness arises based on delusion. So if you know this one, you hear when you listen to Buddhism, or when you listen to the people who practice Buddhism, because without knowing this basic Buddhism, sometimes you fall into different other practices, but you don't get any satisfaction or any happiness. Or sometimes you get happiness, then you fall into suffering again, because when you miss it, you fall into suffering. If you know the nature of this body and mind, how it runs, what are the basic things related to this consciousness, so then you know how to let go and free your mind, not to crave anything. So craving is the suffering creator. So according to the Four Noble Truths, The cause of suffering is the craving arise when contact object. Pasapaccha vedana, vedana paccha tanna. When contact happens, the feelings arise. Because of the feelings, the craving arise. So this greed is a part of the craving. The greed is actually, ill will is also come from the wanting. If you want these things, you don't want the other things. So that is, then ill will start arise to the other one. So it is always like the two poles of magnet. That's what I thought from. If there is a north pole, there should be the south pole, other side. So that is the nature. So these things we have to keep in mind, how these things work. So if you have any questions, you can ask more. Yeah, I think Mike, he's asking the mic.
Thank you, Bhante. I think you mentioned earlier that with greed, it's often directed towards material things,
yeah,
which are often not good things to direct it at. But in some other cases, we have cravings for things like community or connection or relationships. We feel lonely. How do we deal with that? And are those also forms of greed, or are they human needs that we should feel that we should rightly try and fulfill? Thank you.
Yes, that's true. Your question is actually actually related to the most human beings. Yeah, that is a good question, because the way you have to, you are a human. So you have those feelings. Those feelings arise based on how you were conditioned early, what you learned, where you lived. So you are naturally follow these things. But when you listen to the Dhamma talks, or the talks related to your body and mind, how different views explains your body, how this body and mind, how it works, and what are the causes and conditions really. Then you naturally, if you are interested in these things, these kind of teachings, then you start investigating within yourself. Then gradually you get the understanding about how your body and mind works, why these intentions arise within us. What are the causes and conditions related to all these choices, all these inclination of mind, how these things arise. Then you understand how you were conditioned and how these conditions come with you, and how you choose things. So these things come later. First, you have to associate with people who practice these views, this right view. So then they see things in a different way. You see things in a totally another way. So then you try to understand why they see in a different way, why I am seeing in this way. So then you start investigating how this seeing process come to us. So then you see what is happening us. And the important thing is, you have to understand within yourself how your choices arise, how these feelings, perceptions, the choices are coming later actually. The feelings, perceptions are just naturally arise when interacting objects. So what are the causes and conditions behind this process? How this consciousness works? These things, when you carefully observe how your mind works and how it changes to different states regarding the same object, so then you gradually understand, okay, these things, based on your experience. Sometimes already you have, if you review your past, you can clearly understand how your mind works. Because sometimes you go and buy things because you think, oh, that is the best. But after some time, when you are dealing with that object, you think, oh no, this one has this problem, that problem. You start seeing things when you are interacting with those things. So then your mind turns to different level. So then you say, oh no, without this one also I can work with the other things. So ultimately you don't need that one. But why you want at the beginning? Because you lived with other people, or you were conditioned, or you have seen an advertisement, something, some input came to your mind and you just grab it, holding on to it. So you didn't actually review or revise to revalue about this thinking process, thoughts, and what are the basis of these things. So these things actually, you get this understanding when you are doing, but someone should inspire to do it. That is the important thing. So that's why I will read one sutta. Actually, it is about the Lord Buddha say this, Kalyana Mitta. Kalyana Mitta is the good friends in your life who inspire you to practice the path which leads to the liberation from suffering. So it is an important thing. That's why when you listen to these Dhamma talks, the Buddhist way of seeing things, and practicing the path to end the suffering. What is, at the beginning, what is suffering is, how this suffering arises, and whether there is the liberation from suffering, and how to achieve the liberation of suffering. So these things, we actually listen first, and then start investigating whether this is true or false. And then we investigate within us, whether it is happening within ourselves or not. So then we come to the practice. So when we are practicing, it is important to associate with the people who are practicing the path. Otherwise, our mind always run based on the inputs already have. So we get new inputs. So then we can go to a different states to develop to a different levels. These inputs are not only come from the other people, but some inputs come from your present experiences. So that the same thing happen in your day-to-day life. We are not actually much observe these things, because why you buy things and throw away things and buy another thing. So these things, this impermanent nature of the external objects. You buy a shirt, and after using some time, it gets worn out, then you throw away and you buy another one. It is the impermanence of the external object. But sometimes you buy a shirt and wearing, oh, this is too warm, I can't wear this one. You throw away and buy. Or something, oh, it is not fit to my body properly. You throw away. And so sometimes when you are buying, you thought it is good, it is fit to you. But after some time, after some time you are wearing, you understand, oh, this is not really good for me. Or someone tell, oh, this is not, you are not look good when you are wearing this shirt. So then your mind naturally turn away this one. Okay, I must give it someone else or throw away. So that kind of, this mind change to different level. The external object change, your consciousness change, your feelings, perceptions change. So both these things happen. So it is a natural phenomenon. It is not a fault within yourself. It is common for all living beings. All consciousnesses in this world, it is common. It is the way how it works. All consciousnesses, according to Buddhism, arise based on delusion. Because whatever thing you experience, you think, oh, that is right. That is, at that moment, you are deluded. So if you know this nature of this conscious process, you review it. You consider whether this is essential for this moment or not. So that is called paccavekkhana in Buddhism. You have to think wisely whether it is necessary for the time being. Because when you go to eat, you have to eat something. Whatever thing you have or whatever thing you prepared, you have to eat for maintain your body. So sometimes you get bad feelings. Sometimes if it is not fit to you, then you have to avoid it because you know it is not good for your body. Or this kind of things. We have to mindfully act according to the situation. But you can cut off a lot of things. You can cut off and let go many things and free your mind. If you understand the nature of this body and mind, especially the mind. Okay, I will read this one, this sutta. Anyway, I thought if it is necessary, I will read this one. Okay, this is the sutta. This is Ajahn Sujato's translation. This sutta, I will first. Yeah, this is Sangyutta Nikaya, SN 3.18. SN 3.18. This is Kalyana Mitta Sutta. Ajahn Sujato translate this one. Number 18, good friends. So sometimes you may say the noble friends, because according to this sutta, actually, this sutta explains the friends who are practicing the path. The practicing the path is the person who understands this Dhamma in a deep level. Some level they understand to take the Dhamma into their day-to-day practice. And that means they view this body and mind through this right view. So that is the important thing. So anyway, the people, you have to associate with that kind of people to come to the path and liberate from all suffering. So according to this sutta, so I will read this one. Good friends. At Savatthi, seated to one side, King Pasenadi said to the Buddha, "Just now, sir, as I was in private retreat, this thought came to my mind. The teaching is well explained by the Buddha, but it's for someone with good friends, companions, and associates. Not for someone with bad friends, companions, and associates." Then Buddha told, That's so true, great king, that's so true, said the Buddha. And he repeated the king's statement. The teaching has well explained me, but it is for someone with good friends, companions, and associates, not for someone with bad friends, companions, and associates. Great king, this one time I was staying in the land of the Sakyans, where they have a town named Townsville, Nagarakam Namagama. The Ajahn Sujato translate this one is as Townsville. Then it is much more practical, I think, according to the English reading. It is direct. The Nagarakam Namagrama, Townsville. Okay, Nagarakam means Townsville. Then the mendicant Ananda came to me, bowed, sat down to one side, and said, "Sir, good friends, companions, and associates are half the spiritual life." When he had spoken, I said to him, "Not so, Ananda, not so, Ananda. Good friends, companions, associates are the whole of the spiritual life. A mendicant with good friends, companions, and associates can expect to develop and cultivate the noble Eightfold Path." And how does a mendicant with good friends develop and cultivate the noble Eightfold Path? When the mendicant develops develops the right view, right thought, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right stillness, which rely on seclusion, fading away, and cessation, and ripen as letting go, maturing in release. Okay, that's how the mendicant with good friends develops and cultivates the noble Eightfold Path. And here, another way to understand how good friends are the whole of the spiritual life. It is the next part. So this is the important thing. When we listen to Dhamma, and if we really try to understand the way of seeing this body and mind through this Dhamma, according to the Dhamma, so you are naturally, your mind inclined to let go things, cut off things, and only you use things for your day-to-day life, for your existence, for your proper living in the present life. So, and for you are not going to too much entertain your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body. You just entertain for maintaining your body, but not going too far through these things. So you know these entertainments or the enjoyment arise through these five senses are always have a limit, or always changing to different states. So it makes you more suffering. So that's why Lord Buddha say, when you are practicing whatever the things, especially the Noble Eightfold Path, it is the totally rely on the seclusion, fading away, and cessation. That means it goes in that direction. Not to get a lot of the possessions. Sometimes people think reading books and thinking make you wise and valuable to you. So you possess a lot of knowledge. You think, oh, it is valuable. No. It is better if you value the cessation, liberation. If you achieve these things, this liberation, cessation, letting go within yourself, it is much more beneficial. These knowledges are volatile, change to different states, and these are not permanent. So sometimes people learn different subjects. They read books, they study hard, but after some time, whatever thing they learn, after 10 years, 20 years, 15 years, most of the things are obsolete, not valid. Sometimes the doctors learn to give medicine. So after 10, 20 years, some of those medicines can't use anymore. They're banned by the government. So these kind of things. So whatever thing we learn and try to, and some of these things we forget if you don't use. Some knowledges, some learning things you keep in your mind, but there are no much use for your day-to-day life later. So you totally divert to a different other fields, and you are doing something else. Whatever thing you learn in your early stages are now no use. So these things are common for many people. So then you have to understand possessing this kind of knowledges. Some people give a big value. You always enjoy reading books and the listening to things and understanding things. So these things actually subject to change and volatile. So that's why it is important to keep in mind to cultivate the seclusion, freedom. So liberation of your mind and letting go things. Let the things fade away and make your mind more calm, peaceful. So these achievements are much more beneficial than the gathering knowledge. But sometimes, if you are doing a job, you should know what you are doing. So then you have to learn, you have to update your knowledges related to your work. So that is okay. But not for keep forever. So there is no such value. Because all these knowledges are always updating and changing. So you have to keep in mind. So that's why you should not waste your time for doing those things. So it is good to develop letting go and free your mind. Enjoy the freedom of mind, doing nothing. Make your mind still. Stop all thinking. These are the achievements. Then you can understand how suffering arises within us. When you stop most of the thinking, lot of suffering disappears. But the suffering arises based on craving. Then you can mindfully understand when the craving arises, suffering arises. So then you have to deal with the craving, because the craving is a part of the system. So then you have to keep the balance. So when you are living in your day-to-day life, you have to wisely review and understand and use your consciousness according to your needs. So not to indulge with these things, but for the basic needs. And then you, in the other time, you can just free your mind from all this thinking and valuing and all these kind of things. You can cut off and let go and free your mind. That's why this is important. When we are practicing, even the people are practicing with the wrong view, this Noble Eightfold Path, they expect so many things. Wisdom is okay, but they understand wisdom as the knowledge. That means the different understandings about this body and mind. But the important thing is practice and experience. And this experiential knowledge, it is the important thing. So then it naturally comes. That is called karma. It comes to you at once when you encounter a difficult or any kind of situation. So it is a part of the system. So that's why it is important that when people practicing this path, which rely on seclusion, fading away, and cessation, and ripen as letting go. So ripen as letting go is the important thing. So the other things are supporting factors. Ultimately, you have to let go everything and free your mind. Then you can directly experience the freedom, liberation. Okay, then the next thing, Lord Buddha said. And here's another way to understand how good friends are the whole of the spiritual life. For by relying on me, that means relying on Lord Buddha, as a good friend, sentient beings who are liable to rebirth, old age, and death, to sorrow, lamentation, pain, sadness, and distress are freed from all these things. This is another way to understand how good friends are the whole of the spiritual life. So great King, you should train like this. I will have good friends, companions, and associates. That's how you should train. So you have to cultivate the will to have the good friends. That is an important thing. You have to find out. Sometimes you don't get it where you are living. So you get the friends, whatever people who are living around you may not really good friends. So that is the nature. So then you have to find out good friends. So the friends who practice the right thing, practice the right view, right the intentions, all these things, right verbal actions, right bodily actions. Mainly you see the right verbal actions and bodily actions. These are the most important things. You can quickly see. Because you don't see their mental actions, but you see their verbal actions and bodily actions, then you can understand. Then you have to associate the people who have the verbal actions and bodily actions. So this is important. So that's why Lord Buddha said we have to find out. We will have good friends, companions, and associates. That's how you should train. When you have good friends, companions, and associates, you should live supporting by one thing, diligence in skillful qualities. That is the thing. Diligence in skillful qualities. So when you have good friends, companions and associates, you should live supported by one thing, diligence in skillful qualities. Appamado kusalesu dhammesu. So that is most of the time Buddha encourage people to do. So find out what is skillful verbal actions, bodily actions and mental actions and practice those things. You should not be neglect these things, not to neglect these things. When you are diligent, supported by diligence, you are ladies of the haram, aristocrat vessels, troops, and people of town and country will think the king lives diligently. Supported by diligence, we would better live diligently. Supported by diligence. When you are diligent, supported by diligence, then not only yourself, but your ladies of the haram and your treasury and your storehouses will be guarded and protected. This is what the Buddha said. Okay, that is the sutta. So then I read this one because I think this is good to remind. This is how Lord Buddha teaches us this Dhamma. So, do you have any questions you can ask? So I can answer.
Yes. Thank you. Yes. Bhante, now, good friends is a problem, isn't it, to find good friends? The Buddha has said elsewhere that good person is a person of practice virtue, has integrity, has fortitude, and wisdom. So, and also he says that one has to be associate that person for some time, and you have to be wise as well to know that this person is such. So that is an ideal good friend. I suppose if you're talking of the liberation path, the person who will be a fairly good friend, a useful one, is one who is at least a stream mentor. Otherwise, even so-called Buddhists don't have the same view, you see. On the other hand, in a world we really live in, we associate various peoples, and of course, most of them do not believe in a way we think of our cosmos, how we think in the Buddhist way. They believe in a creation and submit themselves to God. But they have good qualities. They are good friends, of course. They do a lot of good things. So this reality is that it doesn't really work that way. So really one has to, if you want to progress with the surroundings, friends and others, one has to develop oneself. That is the basic point here. You first said, you defined, as I understood, the body and the mind. That's a good start. The body really belongs to nature. So if you reduce your burden of looking after the body, half the problems are solved. Okay? So reduce your burden because it works automatically. Then the mind comes in. So what is mind? Impressions in your memory from the time you were born, and also in your cankers and your defilements, kills. And you suffer on the basis of how you operate these things. One suffers more if you have more. So this thing Buddha said is only can be released by the Noble Eightfold practice or Noble Eightfold Path. So then you approach a purification of the mind gradually. Then, of course, you do not get involved. Even if you have good friends or bad friends, it doesn't matter. Of course, having good friends around is useful, of course. Then having, of course, then at that time, you, as you said earlier, you have to know that it is, the object is not that cause of suffering, it's the mind. So you focus first into yourself. Look at yourself, not the object. You said it changes. One thing, like today is not the same problem tomorrow. So you have to, at that point, you see that problem is in you. So that's why you have to develop the mind. That's the time you have to practice to give up these cankers.
Yeah, that's it. So the important thing is, so whatever thing you are telling is right, but when you think we are practicing the Eightfold Path, so when we are practicing the Eightfold Path, the difficult thing is, sometimes the defilement arises within yourself. If you don't understand, until you come to the path, is the most difficult thing. So because your mind chooses this is right, this is wrong, based on your past views. So you are not come to the right view. You haven't come yet to the right view. So that's why you are always your choices or your understandings based on delusion. Most of the things are based on delusion. Even though you try to practice, you learn Buddhism and try to practice Buddhism, when you come to the right view, you have the clarity about what you are doing. But still, the deep kilesa within yourself, your mind don't go to the deeper liberation due to different different other defilements within yourself. So that's why you have to associate with the people who practice the path. Sometimes you are going round and round and round, round and round in the same place because you can't identify the problem. That's why the Kalyana Mitta, if you associate with Kalyana Mitta, they can show. Because they may have different problems, but they once they pass these stages, they can directly tell you this is the place you are taking wrong way. Because we can say we are practicing the right view, but how deep we are practicing right view? Because this right view go up to the final stages of this practice. It is come from the beginning, but it develops to the final stages. So at least you should have the basic level. That is the removing the sakkaya ditthi. That means this I me myself view. So the basic this personality view. Once it removed, so you have to work out. You have to practice it properly and use it in your day-to-day life and remove a lot. So then you start seeing the world in a different way. So, but it is not enough because still your feelings, perceptions are already deluded. So when you achieve different states of your mind, naturally you have the mana. That means you see the others don't see these things. Only I see these things. But it is also leads to suffering. It is also leads to problems. That's why this mana, uddacha, end at the final stage of the practice. That means when achieve the total liberation, that means achieve the arahantship. So then you release from these fetters. These are because these are not you are holding on. It is a part of the system. You have to directly understand, directly experience and understand and liberate from these things. Until you liberate from these things, these exist within yourself. It is a part of the system. So that's why Lord Buddha say the whole path is the associating with Kalyana Mitta. That is the most important thing. Most people think that once you come to the path, once you understand you are in the path, that is wrong. You have to. Yeah, it is a yeah. You are caught up to that kind of view. So that's why you miss something. When you are associating with Kalyana Mitta, then you see you are facing problems. You are, and the important thing is they encourage you to practice all together, doing the same thing. All are going to the same direction. So they all put the effort to the practice. If you live with some other people, actually they drag you to different other directions. If they are not Kalyana Mittas, they try to inspire you to do something else. Then you're just wasting time for something else. So that's why if you are practicing with the people who practice the path, and they have the diligence, ardent and resolute according to Buddha. So then you put the full effort to the practice. Otherwise, you are distracted from the path because you are not living with the group of people who are practicing the path, who are put the full effort to the path. So it is a problem. You see, that's why Lord Buddha say that it is good to ordain in the Sangha and come to the full practice. Ajahn Brahm say it is that is the way how you enter to the 6-lane highway. You can easily drive, high speed. Otherwise, you are going like a small, narrow road, so you have to brake, you have to stop, you have to watch carefully, and sometimes you mislead and you go in the wrong direction. After some time, you know, I'm going in the wrong direction, so then you have to turn back and... So it is not like the 6-lane highway. So that's why it is good, the ordination, the ordain and live with the monastics means, see, mostly if you are living with the good monastics, if they are practicing the path, that is the best way to practicing the path. That's why associating with Kalyana Mitta. So then you naturally come to naturally you get the courage or the support from the others to the practice. Because all have the same view, all are practice the same view, all want to achieve the same goal. So that's a So do you have any more questions?
We have a few questions online.
Okay.
Sorry, Bhante.
Okay.
Briefly, how to find out that, how to identify a Kalyana Mitta, please?
Okay. So that is, you have to read the Chanki Sutta like thing. Lord would actually give a long, it is a difficult question, but so in basics, I can tell you. So that Lord Buddha say, go and associate with the persons. If you first you hear, oh, this monk is good, this teacher is really good. So once you hear from someone else, they praise about that teacher. So then you go and listen to and associate. The Pairupasana means you have to go and live with them, associate with them. Then you understand whether this person has the greed, hatred. Their verbal actions, bodily actions fall into based on greed or hatred. So then you gradually understand about that person. So then if he don't have any greed-based, hatred-based actions, if he is always have that the high-level generosity, kindness, softness, gentleness, so then naturally your faith and confidence arise within yourself regarding that person. So then you are naturally follow him. And then you, according to Buddha's teachings, then you lend your ears to listen to what he is telling. Then you put an effort to understand what he is explaining us. So then gradually you understand Dhamma and then you come to the practice. So then you have the courage, confidence to undertake that practice. Otherwise, we listen many things. If we don't have confidence, we don't undertake, we don't spend our life to follow that teaching. That's what happened to many people, I know. That's why people don't worry. They listen, oh yeah, we are good Buddhists, we listen to Dhamma, yes, but never practice. They never commit their life to that practice. Because they want to say, okay, we are good Buddhists, we listen to Dhamma, okay. But they don't practice. because they are not how do you say, they yeah, they don't committed. Yeah, they are not committed. Yes, that is the thing. That because this convince how you get convinced when you associate with the good people or the people who correctly practice, and you see the value of that. So when you see, when they are facing a difficult situation, if they are not get agitated and they are not get suffered, so they are happy people. So then you understand, oh, this practice has a value. Okay.
So I think we've got time for one online question. So we had someone asking, how do we deal with the anger that arises when somebody says a false or insulting kind of statement to them?
Yeah, if the anger already arises within yourself, first thing you have to understand, this is unskillful. Just avoid it. Just take your mind out of that object. Don't think about that one again. So whatever thing. So Lord Buddha say, if someone scolds you, if you think once, he is called another time. If you think 10 times, he is called 10 times. If you don't think, only he is called one time. Because every time you think about this one, he is calling again and again within your heart. That is the problem. So then it arises, so then it gets more stronger and powerful. So the important thing is just be kind to that person. That means people, according to the way of seeing correctly, each and every person's actions based on the causes and conditions at that moment. When he is scolding, what are the causes and conditions that affected his body and mind? So this is the only thing we have to keep in mind. Once these causes and conditions change, their verbal actions, bodily actions change to a different state. So we have to keep in mind, that is the reality. These are impermanent stuff. Scolding is impermanent. So if you reflect on that, if you train to reflect on that way, it is easy. If you don't have that training, so the next important thing is just avoid that anger, hatred arise within us. So there's unhappiness arise within us because it is not helpful to you. It is not beneficial to your mental health. So just cut off and let go and be calm and quiet. Don't think back again. After some time, you can review why he or she talk like that. What are the causes and conditions behind these things? Because each and every person's body and mind work based on causes and conditions, not because he, she, or other person. If you reduce it to the personalities, then it is a problem. You have to maintain the wide view regarding these bodies and minds. These are not fixed things. These are not the permanent things. These are always change based on causes and conditions. So if you keep these things in mind, your mind can quickly get soft and kind. And then you get a chance to review and understand why these kind of actions arise in that person. What are the causes and conditions? Sometimes one of your actions, bodily actions or verbal actions, they have misunderstood. Maybe. Or sometimes these actions actually make them upset. That's why they scold. So we have to understand, all these are independent. So they have the causes and all own causes and conditions to run their bodily actions and verbal actions. So if you maintain this kind of understanding regarding bodies and minds, your mind can quickly get calm. Or you can bear the pain. Sometimes, most of the time, the people who closely related to you to create more suffering, more anger, more hatred. The person in very far away don't make you much angry. Because when you closely relate to people, so you have expectations from them. You do things and you expect back. Okay, I work kindly, I do this thing. They also should. This kind of relationship always build up when you are living with other people. So it is a problem. So you have to understand this, my bodies and minds are run based on causes and conditions and each and every moment. When the moment change, these can change to different states. So today your boss praise you, tomorrow he will blame you. We don't know the cause. Sometimes it may be based on misunderstanding or maybe based on your fault. Who knows? So these things are impermanent stuff. So this impermanence, if you understand, the whatever thing you get is not fixed. These things can change to whatever other states. So that is the nature. That is the way we have to accept the reality. So you have to train your mind to do that. So that is the most important thing of this practicing this path or practicing the right view. When you see the world in the right way, so your mind gets soft and gentle because you are ready to accept the changes, differences, because you know it is a part of the world. So you are ready to accept any bad thing, any good thing. So that is called the puttassa loka dhammehi chittang yassana kampati. That means the 8 worldly winds. You are not shaken by the 8 worldly winds. So these are ones, I think last time I talked about that. So that is what I can tell.
Thank you, Bhante.
Okay. Is there any other question?
We don't really have time.
Hi, Bhante. Thanks for the insightful talk. Just a question regarding about the right view. So every time when we see an object, it constant change based on the cause and condition, and possible due to delusion. But in the daily life, we are constantly making decisions as well for what the path we go down to. But again, that will be caused by our view at that point in time. Yeah. So my question is, how do we make right decision? Because our view about object constant change. Yeah, the important thing is, in your day-to-day life, actually you have to deal with the objects according to the current status or situation. So when you go to your job, or when you are dealing with your children or the husband or someone, whatever persons you are associated with, you have to deal according to the convention, according to the way how you dealt with. And only thing at that time you have to keep in mind what is wholesome, what is skillful, and what is unskillful, what is wholesome, what is unwholesome. These things you have to keep in mind. This is the guideline. So that's why Lord Buddha say, when you are living in this day-to-day life, so you have to non-greed, non-hatred, non-delusion. These things you have to maintain. But these things also create intentions. These things also create choices. The feelings, perceptions. You know, this impermanence, it is a part of the system. But you are living in your day-to-day life. So you have to deal with these things in a conventional way. That means you have to eat. What you are going to eat? It is suitable. It should be suitable to you. It should be agreeable to your body and your choices. You are not going to eat something you don't like. So then you have to maintain up to your basic needs. You have to maintain like that. But you should not go too far through these things. That means, if you're going to get the ultimate happiness through these things, you get fooled. But when you are living in your day-to-day life, you just choose according to your knowledge or understanding. But you have to keep in mind, these things may create mistakes. Sometimes you have to correct again and again.
It is a part of life. No need to worry. No need to blame to yourself. So if you understand this impermanence, you have to deal, because already you have your eye and ostang, body and mind. These are working in the present moment. So it always based on whatever thing you know now. This knowledge is always changing, updating. So then the only thing that if you keep in mind this impermanence of all these feelings, perceptions, and volitions, you are not keep and the deep expectations on these things. You are ready to accept the faults. You are ready to accept the mistakes. Then you are not falling to the depression, that kind of the bad mental states. You are not blaming to yourself. You are not going to blame other people. Because you accept these things can change. Your choices may mistakes, actually. So after some time you understand, oh, this is a wrong choice. But you are kind to it. You're soft to it. Let it be. You have to deal presently in the right way with the kindness, softness, gentleness. That's all. So you have to do the right thing now. Don't worry about whatever thing happened in the past. Past arised based on causes and conditions at that moment. That's all. It is not yours. It is a part of the system, part of the flow of happening things. So when we take these things as, oh, that is my mistake, then you come to remorse. Then your mind gets contracted. Then you fall into anger, hatred, all bad mentality. It will hinder the proper actions you can do now. That is the problem. That's why if you understand, if you keep in mind the reality, these things can change. These are impermanent. This eye and nose, tongue, body is something like a mirage. Whatever thing you value now may change. But we have to use it in your day-to-day life for living, for dealing with other people around you. You have to use these organs, the eye and nose, tongue, body, and mind. So you just do it with the kind, soft, gentle heart. And if you see the mistake, if someone point out, or you are doing these things wrong, you just accept, yes. And then ask the forgiveness. Finish. So then your mind gets soft. If you try to build up the strong personality, no, I never do anything wrong. I'm the person who is doing everything correctly. If you try to build up that kind of personality, that's based on delusion, because there is no fixed personality. There is no fixed feelings, perceptions, and volitions. That is come from delusion. So, if you have any further questions, please you can ask after lunch. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Then we can. Yeah.